Hello and welcome back to my nail corner. The mani on my right hand is pretty much what we're going to do on my left hand, but with an added little bit of pizzazz. Hopefully I can get through this voiceover without too many interruptions. We are having a super windy day here today, and the wind noises against the house and the wreath on the front door knocking makes my puppy bark. And I don't want to take the wreath down because I just want him to learn that it's not a big deal, even if someone's knocking. Let's not bark at it. But yeah, he's sound asleep at my feet, but I have a feeling if that were to bang against the door, he might make himself known. So we'll see how far I get into this. Anyway, these are some of my favorite Triple D colors together. This first color I'm using is Charge It, and I have maybe half of that jar left, and I already have a backup one in my supply because I love it so much that I never want to risk running out of it. So it's the gorgeous minty color you see there. It's going to build up beautifully in the second dip especially, and it's a vibrant glow in the dark. You will see it at the end, just you wait. But anyway, if you recall a while back when I was working as a Triple D ambassador, I guess I've never said it here. I stepped down from being a Triple D ambassador towards the end. I guess it was in the fall last year, and that has absolutely nothing to do with my love for Triple D. I love Triple D to death. I still use all the products and stay in touch with all of the girls regularly because I just love them so much. I love Dodie. I love the whole team. I just felt like I wasn't able to pull my weight. I wasn't doing my part, and I never wanted to put anybody in a position where they had to say to me like, hey, you're not doing enough. But I just felt like my focus had been a lot more in my household, like I really like the homeschooling, the kids, all the things around here. And I never want doing my nails and recording it or taking pictures to feel, rushed or like an obligation. And I don't want to let anybody down. So I've been really careful just since the fall about taking on someone sending me products. I don't want to miss people's expectation. Let's put it that way. I don't want to fall short. And so I'm trying to do a better job of managing my own limitations, I guess, and just making sure that when I say yes to something that I can fulfill that comfortably. Hopefully that makes sense. But anyway, that all started because I said a while back the ambassadors for Triple D got to kind of formulate their own dip, and if you've seen mine, that is the base color for mine, Charge It, and it has beautiful flakies in it, and of course the same glow. So that is how much I love this color, that when I got to kind of create my own dip, I picked this color as the base. So now I've done 2 dips, and I'm going to do a clear cap. Now you can see I have a giant jar of Modelones clear acrylic. I bought that because all of my other like random jars of different brands of clear, which all worked fabulously, I had pretty much contaminated them with glitter at one time or another. So I wanted to have a jar that I was much better about exclusively using for just solids, and it's also big enough that I can like fill a smaller jar if I want to use it for my glitter dips. So I have that giant jar. It is Modelones clear acrylic. It was under $10 and it's like 4 ounces. It should last me for a minute. But that's linked down below in my Amazon storefront if you are looking for a good clear. It's very finely milled and I've just had no issues with it. It's perfectly clear on the nail. You'll see over black here in a minute. And I highly recommend, if you want to stock up on some clear, grab some of that. So I'm going to go ahead and start dipping into this black. I do want to mention that I activated those lighter colored, the minty color, because I find that with black especially, right, it's really highly pigmented. If you even like kind of I don't know how to put it. If any of that powder kind of gets onto the lighter color before it's activated, it could just kind of stick to it. And so by activating those nails, it kind of will secure them in place and allow you to do like black or glitter and it not get stuck to it. So I highly recommend activating as you go if you can get in the habit of that. It's kind of a newer habit of mine, to start with the lightest color, move your way darker, and then do your glitters last, and then activate as you go. So that's one of the reasons why I recently did a mani that I didn't film, but I didn't activate as I went, and I totally got some black powder on one of the other lighter colored nails, and it's kind of just annoying. You either have to like buff that off, maybe even do another layer depending on how contaminated it was, or you just have to have those black specks on your light colored nail. So keep that in mind. But if you're looking for a good black, this is Into the Night by Triple D, and as you can see, it is so pigmented, and yet I don't deal with staining. Now, granted, I will kind of talk about that a little bit. Some people really struggle with black, and I did early on too. I remember using what's Revel Nails Black Barbara and being so frustrated, and I thought, I'm just never doing this again. This is terrible. And I kind of in my mind blamed the powder, but really the biggest thing you can do when dipping into black or any dark pigmented color is really control your liquid application. So less is more. You can't easily take dip liquid away from your nail, so start with less. You can always add more. And just really be precise about your application. Keep it from getting on the skin surrounding your nail, to the best of your ability, and that's really going to help. Something that I'm not doing here that also helps is if you pour the dip over your nail, because then you're not kind of pushing that dip powder up into the cuticle area, like around your nail and on that skin. But really try your best to control your liquid application, and that is going to be just everything for keeping from staining your fingers. But also go ahead and try what I mentioned prior, which is the glass cuticle pusher. So if you use the pointed part of that around the nail, I like to do that after I've filed and buffed. And then if you want to use a cuticle softener during that process, that's really helpful. If you just like scrub your nails after you file and buff with like warm water and a toothbrush, just that little bit of moisture will help break it up off of your skin when you use that glass cuticle pusher. So that is a really big asset to have on hand if getting it on your skin is something that you struggle with. Get one of those glass cuticle pushers and let it work for you. Those are also linked in my Amazon storefront. They're like my favorite tool, and I actually have them in different places all over the house, because I find that if I have like just the tiniest bit of dip powder around my cuticle or anything, if I pick at it, I'm going to end up like lifting that dip powder off the nail, and then like my mani's ruined. But if you use that little glass cuticle pusher, it really is a great cleanup tool. Okay. Now this is Hope and Harmony, and right now, like, oh, like that's pretty, but just does not give you like the wow factor that you're about to see. But you can see it there on my right hand. I love this flake so much, and I'm taking my time right now and just kind of pressing it down around the cuticle line there, because I need to wait for that dip base to dry a little bit before I go in for my second dip anyway. But this does not need a lot of work. This is your like wow factor of a chunky glitter without the struggle factor of a chunky glitter. So I know some of us really love that pizzazz of a chunky glitter, but it's just like you gotta have your patience prepared to deal with that. These flakes lay so nice and flat on the nail, and they just take no work, and yet the pizzazz that comes from these flakes are just stunning. So Hope and Harmony, as you can see, goes beautifully with it. Has like this minty flake in it, as well as just like the holographic silver flake. And oh my gosh, I think it's my favorite. I think it's my favorite of all of them. I feel like I say that about a lot of things, but I think this is my favorite Triple D flake like for sure. So these colors together, I love the mint and black combination, and then just like the wow of that flake is just chef's kiss to me. So I really liked those 3 together. If you don't have them in your collection, I highly recommend that you grab them. So now I am just dusting off that excess powder. Another thing, if you have a clear dip over especially a black, I highly recommend using like a stiff bristled brush, whether that's a toothbrush or a manicure brush, whatever you have on hand. I did not do that, so I'm not demonstrating well for you guys, but if you've ever had a dark dip powder that you put clear over and then you had your finished mani look like it had like little white specks or kind of bubbles almost over it, that is your biggest culprit for that problem, is having excess clear dip powder on those nails. So really take a scrubby brush and get that excess off, and make sure that that clear dip powder has really, whatever's on the nail has absorbed into your dip liquid, and that will help with that problem. As you can see, I didn't even use that stiff bristled brush over the black and the clear dip powder, and I did not have any specks of anything. So that's a testament to the Modelones clear acrylic. I feel like it does a beautiful job, and it's just not something I have to put extra work into. So I just filed and buffed off camera, and now we're going to get into just a little extra stamping. I will see if I can find the link to this. I've had the stamping plate in my drawer forever. It's just from Amazon, but I wanted to leave this part in so you could see. I just pulled the blue film off of this brand new stamping plate, and there's a second layer. Okay, so my dear sweet friend Miranda, the first time she was going to do stamping, she got a stamping plate and pulled the blue film off, and then she could not figure out why she couldn't get the stamping polish to pick up on her stamper. She's like, it's just not working. Well, what had happened was she got a new plate, pulled the blue film off, and thought like good to go, but it had a second layer of blue film on it. And obviously, like, these things are done by machines and things happen, but I just want you to know, if you're a new stamper, your stamping plate shouldn't have a blue film on it. So make sure you look if there's a second layer and get that off. So I went ahead and I pulled out some gorgeous silver stamping polish I have from Maniology. I will put all that information down below. Don't forget that I have a discount code for Maniology. Feel free to use that anytime that you are shopping there. And I'm certain that they'll have a plate with like this little, it's the easiest little, I don't know what you even call it. I guess it's kind of like a star, right? So like some people will do it manually, like with a detail brush. They'll do like a little dot and then pull the lines out in 4 directions. I just am much more comfortable stamping than I am like hand drawing anything. I have very little to no artistic ability, so stamping is really like my go-to for any kind of image. So I kind of did this initially to this was a new stamping plate that I hadn't used. I wanted to make sure everything was going to pick up really well, and it did, and so that was like my test run. So like I said, I'm sure Maniology has a plate with this little symbol on it, and if I can find it easily, I will link that below as well, because again, I'm not sure if I'll be able to find this. It was an old Amazon purchase, and I also, like I said, have a discount code for Maniology, so it might even be cheaper, who knows. I will try to link everything. That being said, I am using that silver from Maniology. Their stamping polishes are so great. They're so nicely pigmented. I've just never had any issues with them, and I've had that silver in my collection for a while. So it's not like it got thick or ruined or anything, just sitting on my shelf for a couple of years. It just works beautifully as ever. So I am going to go ahead and get that image on my stamp, and then because I was going to do a couple of different applications, I decided to get my sticky base. Is that what it's called? Yeah, sticky base coat out and put that on my nail. So, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place here, but as you can see, I'm removing little excess from the image because that star image that I'm using had like multiple smaller stars around it, and I didn't want those. And so you can use whatever. I mean, I clear off the whole stamper by using a lint roller, but when you want to just take parts off, you can kind of use anything that's a metal cuticle pusher. and just gently kind of pick the polish off of the stamper. Like I said, gently, because you don't want to puncture the jelly stamper. But anyway, that's what I was doing. So now I'm applying my sticky base coat to my nail. What that does is literally what it sounds like. So sorry for explaining what seems obvious, but it's just putting a base coat down that's going to keep a tacky layer. The reason for that is right now, the image that's on my stamper, that nail polish is dry. Like, it dries really quickly. And if it's dried on the stamper and you go to place it on the dip powder on your nail, it's not going to transfer to your nail. So if you've ever had issues with the polish on your stamper not fully transferring to your nail, it's likely because it's drying rapidly and then it doesn't want to stick. So a sticky base coat is a fantastic thing to have on hand for when you're stamping, because you can really just take your time and not have to worry about, because a lot of times I think the struggle with stamping early on is getting the timing right and you just feel rushed, right? So you're like, apply the polish, swipe the thing, roll the stamper, get it on my nail, and it feels like it has to happen so quickly that it just doesn't turn out right. So that sticky base really gives you kind of the time to do it at your own pace and not feel like it has to be so rushed to get the image just right onto your nail. So anyway, big advocate for sticky base coat, and it dries really fast on your nail. As you can see, like, this is all real time right now. I just applied it, let it air dry for, I don't know, 30 seconds, and then went ahead with my stamping. So I highly recommend you pick that up if you don't have some on hand. Anyway, I'm going to speed this up a tiny bit because it's repetitive. I'm just doing kind of 2 of those like stars on each of my index and my ring finger. And then I'm going to use a dotting tool to add in a little excess dotting. So I will come back and chat with you about that when I get there. Okay, so I am just putting a little bit of that stamping polish on the scraper card that I just used, and using this little dotting tool to add a few little dots to the nail in the blank spaces, just to add a little bit more pizzazz. So I will link below if I can find the exact set of dotting tools. I've had these for ages, probably just an Amazon purchase years and years ago. But if I can't find the exact link, then I'll link something that's like that would do the same thing. Let's put it that way. I try to remember to link every product below. If I ever miss something or you're looking for something in addition, let me know and I'd be happy to see what I can find and get you a link to Amazon or whatever website I can find it on. These dotting tools are great. They're usually double-ended. One's a little side is usually a little bit larger than the other, and like I said, I have a set of them, so I just kind of picked the one that I felt would suit the design I wanted the best. And so that's as easy as it is. You just dab it in the polish and then tap it on the nail and you are good to go. If you don't have a dotting tool, you could use something as easy as an orange wood stick, a toothpick, just depending on the size that you're looking for, but that's as simple as adding a few dots in. So now our design is done and we are going to get into top coat. So if you are new here, you won't know my process, but let me tell you real quick. I like to do a gel top coat. I just find that it is the easiest way to get the best glossy shine. I like to do a gel base coat first because that is going to help your gel top coat stick. So if you've tried a gel top coat like I did years ago and it peeled within like a day, it peeled off the top of the dip powder and I was like, what are people doing to fix this? Because it's not working for me. And I just remained a dip top coat girl for a long time. I then tried it with a gel base layer first and it cured the peeling completely. So gel base, when it's cured for 30 seconds, has like a tacky layer to it, similar to the sticky base coat we just talked about for stamping. And that gives your gel top coat something to grab onto. Gel top coat does not like to stick to something as smooth as like the filed and buffed dip powder that I have on my nails, so it will peel off. But with a base coat first, it will grab right on and it will stay put. I have never had any gel top coat peeling since I started using gel base first. So I went ahead and did my pinky, middle, and thumb first, which just allowed a little extra dry time for that stamping polish. You do want to make sure your stamping polish is completely dry before you go in with a top coat, or you're going to smear that stamping polish that you just painstakingly applied. So take your time and let that dry for a couple of minutes if you can. If you are impatient like I am, then at least do the other nails first and then come back to those stamped nails. And then you just want to kind of, if you're rushing it like I was, just kind of float that base coat over. Like you're not really wanting the brush to come in contact with the polish. You're just kind of gently applying it. And that's going to help you avoid the smearing as well. So now that my gel top coat or base coat is on and cured for 30 seconds, I'm going in with my gel top coat. Now I'm going to speed through this a little bit because it's repetitive. It's what we just saw, but I am, as you just saw there, capping that free edge, and that really just helps seal everything in. I use a peel base, and so capping that free edge just gives me a little bit more wear time. Now people ask about peel base a lot, and the fact is if you want a long-term manicure, do not use peel off base coat. Peel off base coat is meant for short-term wear. That being said, with builder gel on my nails and then peel off base coat and then my dip powder manicure, if I seal that free edge really nicely and just don't pick at my nails, like if I know there's peel off, whatever you want to call it, base coat, I tend to want to like, is there lifting? Oh wait, if I have to pop that one off, I guess I have to do them all. If I don't mess with them with my builder gel, peel off base coat, and then a dip mani, I'll get a full week. And I mean, like, some people are like, a week, that's nothing. I want 2 to 3 weeks. Don't use peel off base coat then. But for me, if I want a mani for a week, if I leave it alone, that's what I'm going to get out of it. And so this process really works nicely for me because I do like to do my nails like once a week at least. So it works great for me, for my purposes, but that's the answer to all the questions as to how long that lasts and what my process is. And now I've decided not to speed up that process because I just yammered right through it. So you want to cure your gel top coat for 60 seconds and then you are good to go. Now look at this glow out of my nail lamp. You guys, my fingers are like flashlights. It is so bright. It's amazing. And I'm telling you, in the middle of the night, it's not that bright because it's not coming right out of your UV. But when you wake up in the middle of the night, you know, and your eyes aren't adjusted, I'm telling you, my nails were like flashlights. Like they did give off that like extra halo of glow in the middle of the night. And I love it. So if you love a glow in the dark nail, Charge It is an excellent one to pick up because it really means it when it says glow in the dark. So I'm applying my cuticle oil like I always do to finish off a mani, and I do multiple times a day. It just really helps keep that skin around your nails nice and healthy and hydrated, especially in these cold winter months. It's just a great idea. So this is my finished mani. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for hanging out. And I think my upcoming video might be like my belated Christmas mani, because I did some French nails and I just think that's great for any time of year. So stay tuned for a belated Christmas mani. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day. Bye now.